You know, one of the things that I absolutely love about doing the Peer Project is getting the chance to speak to people who have taken huge leaps of faith in their life. People who have bet everything on a dream and not knowing how it would end. And today's guest, well, he's one of those people. Now, you might recognise Tom Ball as the teacher who stunned the world on Britain's Got Talent. Honestly, that incredible voice. The moment he got that standing ovation, the emotion, all of it. But what you might not know is the story behind it. The fear, the risk, and the reason that he walked away from the classroom to chase something completely uncertain. In this conversation, we talk about everything. The highs of performing on America's Got Talent, the reality of living with type 1 diabetes whilst touring the world, and also the deeply personal IVF journey that led to the birth of his amazing daughter, Adeline. It's honest, it's raw, and it's the kind of conversation that I love the most. The human story behind the headline. So, sit back and relax. This is Tom Ball, and this is the Peer Project. Do you still see yourself as a teacher who sings or a singer who used to teach?
Oh, it's a great question. I would say I'm a singer that used to teach. My life now is music, the music industry, touring, recording. I'm passionate about education and still making an impact within education, but I'm no longer teaching.
How was that process going from something that you obviously worked very, very hard for in terms of your teaching degree and
Yeah.
to get there? Because I know from experience, it takes a long time to get that. So
Yeah.
much so I didn't get it, but you put a lot of yourself into that, and then all of a sudden you're away from it. You're changing careers into something that has got a lot more risk to it.
A lot more risk. Yeah. They say that you don't get into teaching for the money, do you? You don't. It's a vocation. It's something that you are passionate about, and therefore that's why you do it. And so it was a scary time, I think, after Britain's Got Talent. I knew that I was going to try and make a go of singing, but I really had no idea what to do, what the next steps were, because Britain's Got Talent is so incredible. It gives you this platform, but that's what it does. It puts you in this platform. But then if you don't continue to work hard as I did when I trained to be a teacher and being a teacher, that platform disappears, and then you're left with not a lot other than a couple of wonderful videos stuck on YouTube. And so it was really scary. I knew I didn't have a job to go back to. I had handed in my notice by that point, trying to give myself the opportunity to make a go of it, see what I could do. Since I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to do music. And this was my one shot. Sometimes you get those opportunities that come around once in a lifetime, and I was going to regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't at least see where I could go.
Yeah. What did you teach?
I was a drama teacher.
Drama. And how was that? How was that kind of just doing, just teaching the kids?
I absolutely loved it. It's a subject that I'm passionate about. And I suppose all you ever really want to achieve as a teacher is to pass on some of that passion to some of your students. Yeah. I'm fully aware that a lot of students aren't going to like my subject. It's quite an open and scary and kind of difficult subject for lots of people. But it teaches you so many good life skills, from interviews to collaboration. It was a subject that was a real passion of mine, and therefore became a passion of so many other students that did extracurricular and school musicals and picked it up as A-level. And so I absolutely adored it, because I just got to talk about, teach, and do what I love every single day.
Now, you mentioned one of the magic words there being school musical. I'm a sucker for a musical. I love. I mean, so much. I don't know if you can see my hoodie. Hang on, I'll move my microphone out of the way. That
Oh,
way.
a bit of Hamilton. Love it.
Now this, I can't show you this because I need to take my top off. But this here is tattooed here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's my Hamilton
incredible.
tattoo. I'm obsessed with Hamilton, but I don't want to get into that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Um, School musicals. What's your favorite school musical?
So I have to say, because it's the one that I did with my students before I left, and there's a video of me in the semi-final of Britain's Got Talent talking to my students, and those students in that room were the students that were taking part in the school musical. Because the producers at ITV really wanted students that would be reactive and know who I am as well. There's no point bringing in loads of students that I don't teach. I was in a school of about 2,000 students, so some of those students wouldn't know who I am.
Yeah.
And so we went, well, we're doing a school musical, let's bring them in. And so I think I have to say Shrek, because that's what we were doing at the time. And I have such fond memories of those students holding on to that secret of Britain's Got Talent, because they were told before the public.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they held it. They
Yeah.
did really, really well. And we were doing Shrek at the time, and they were getting so excited. And it was a really lovely, lovely moment in my teaching career. So Shrek.
So Shrek's awesome. My daughters have just finished doing Shrek as well.
Oh, incredible. Did they enjoy
Um,
it?
yeah, they did. They actually they got perfectly cast as well. My youngest, who is 7, she was cast as Little Fiona,
Great.
and then my middle one, who is 11, she was cast as Teen Fiona.
Amazing.
So
They love.
oh,
I
they
bet
did.
your house was incredible, full of harmonies, because obviously those songs together
Yeah.
are beautiful.
It was good. Do you know, it was a good thing for me as well because I got to teach them a wee bit of the the 3-part harmony
Yeah.
in I Know It's Today, where it
Yeah.
splits into three. I got to teach them that, which was just, it was
Oh, that's
special.
lovely.
It was really special, you know. So yeah, so Shrek, I'm right in there with Shrek. You know,
Good.
Shrek. If I ever go back onto the stage one day, if I ever
Yeah.
go back, it would be to play Shrek. That's the only thing that would
It's a
get me
great
back.
part. And
Oh,
the thing is, you'd actually have the accent.
of
Unlike
course.
so many people that play Shrek, especially
Yeah.
down south where I am, and they
Hmm.
put it on and they do not put it on very well.
It's yeah, it's a unique accent. Let me see.
Oh, it's
Um,
lovely.
why why did you decide to audition in the first place, and why was that time the right time to do it?
I was teaching, I think I was in my third year, including training and everything like that. And COVID had just happened.
Mm,
I hadn't sung properly for about 2, 3 years on stage or really around the house. It was all consuming teaching. And so I completely kind of stopped pursuing any kind of motivation to sing.
hmm
And I saw an advert and I just thought, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to.
Yeah.
If I do this in a couple of years' time, it's not going to happen.
Hmm.
And so I just thought, well, what's the harm? I can submit a video and I could hear nothing, or they might get a response and it doesn't go anywhere. There is no harm in me just submitting a video and seeing what happens. And so that's what I did. I submitted a video, and I think within that day, I got a phone call from one of the producers asking for more,
Wow.
which was great. It was a really
Yeah.
exciting moment where I got quite a quick feedback on it, and then we went to producers tour where you go meet them in the person and they talk with you and you sing through some songs, and then finally they go, okay, we vetted you, we're happy with you, you can now go to the first round of Britain's Got Talent. But every step was just
Yeah. Was there any and forgive me, and hopefully you understand where I'm going with this, but was there any doubt in your mind the intentions of the producers and whatnot in bringing you in to Britain's Got Talent? If you understand what I
yeah,
mean by
no,
that, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I was very lucky through Britain's Got Talent. I think the story of who I am, of Tom Ball, as a secondary school teacher was enough.
Hmm.
And so at no point did I feel like I was being pushed or pulled in a certain direction. They very much let me be me, because what I was fitted, I think, the program. Because ultimately, Britain's Got Talent, it is a reality TV program. It's there to make good telly. And if they didn't do what they do, it would be very boring.
Yeah.
And so they create stories, and they highlight certain areas. But for me, the story was real, and so I was incredibly proud to be just me on stage, me talking to the judges, me in interviews. I genuinely didn't feel led at all. Maybe that at the time, especially, very naive to it. I hadn't done anything like it, so I wouldn't know. But I've been fortunate to do America's Got Talent All Stars, and then I went back to Britain's Got Talent the year later as a special guest. And so I do really feel like that I was able to just showcase myself and my personality without the need of anything else.
Talk to me about the moment on stage then, when you're walking out onto that stage. You have no idea what's coming next. And talk to me about how you're feeling, kind of like the moment before you sang, and then
Yeah.
afterwards when you realized, oh, hang on a wee minute, they actually love me, or whatever you realized.
Yeah. So you're there for 12 hours, or I was there for 12 hours, which is a long time.
Yeah.
But there's B-roll to get, and there's lots of things going on. And not everyone is there for 12 hours, obviously. They don't make everyone wait. But I was one of the last ones for the day. And so I was there for quite a long time. And it kind of lulls you, or I was lulled into a false sense of security of kind of, oh, this might not happen. Like, I'm nice and chilled. After a certain amount of time, you kind of you stop feeling as nervous as you do.
Right.
But it wasn't until I was in the wings and I saw Anton Deck, and I went, oh, this is happening. oh no, do I want to do this? What's going on? And they had to tell me to go on stage 3 times because I didn't clock, because we were doing so much filming. I thought it was another B-roll of, like, they're telling me to go on stage, and I was just standing there going, okay. Went, no, Tom, go on stage. I went, yeah. No, go on stage. Oh, okay. And so I then walked onto stage. And it was incredibly nerve-wracking. But again, I look back on it in a bit of a blur. I didn't, in that moment, take the opportunity to stop and take a mental picture of where I was and what I was doing. My clearest memories of Britain's Got Talent, and especially that first round, is what's on TV.
Yeah.
Because that's what I can visualize it, and I know what it was like to stand there and see the audience and hear them say those things. But I walked off stage after the comments, the judges' comments, and specifically Amanda Holden's comment of one of the best singers we've had in 16 years. I walked off, phoned my mum, and went, I think Amanda said this, but she definitely didn't know. And I talked myself out of it for 4 months until they televised it, and then it was shown. I was like, oh my goodness, she did. She actually said those words. So it is a complete blur because it's such a whirlwind. You're on stage for 3 minutes.
Tell me about the kind of the transition between the Saturday night when the audition goes out.
Yeah.
And sorry, let me go back there. So the Tom Ball that we had the Saturday night at the beginning of Britain's Got Talent episodes on that Saturday night, and the Tom Ball that woke up the next morning.
Oh, so I, again, naively, don't think I really thought about it before I did it, that there would be much change or much difference. Stupid, really, because I've seen it happen to so many other people, and I myself have watched it. If I had seen Susan Boyle down the street, I would have said something.
Yeah.
But I didn't put that into my own self. And so the day after Britain's Got Talent happened, I thought, okay, it was amazing. My phone blew up. Everything, like messages from people I didn't know, from people I did know, phone calls. It was completely mental. And I went to bed, and the next morning I decided that I was going to go visit my family who were on holiday at the time. And I was like, look, I'm gonna go and see them. I want to celebrate this with my family. And I got on the train, and the conductor came over to me and went, "You're Tom Bull." And that was the first moment I was like, "Oh, I'm being recognized here." And the whole day, everywhere I walk down the street, everyone was stopping me, and it's a lot to take in. It's a lot that suddenly people know your name and know your face and want to talk to you and ask you questions and take photos with you. It can be quite overwhelming, but because it was such a positive experience on Britain's Got Talent, the public reaction from it was also really positive. So it was nice to get recognized and nice to talk to people, and I still enjoy it to this day. I still enjoy meeting people and talking about my BGT experiences.
Given how young you were at the time, 23, is that right?
I was 22. Yeah.
22. So given how young you were at the time, how do you cope with that sort of that kind of emotion that you're going through at the time? I'm a grown adult, right? I'm 41 years old, and 42. Oh my God, I'm 42 years old, and I wouldn't have coped. And I've got double your time on Earth, But so how did you do it?
It's my family.
Yeah.
It really is. It's the support network you have around you. And my mum, my dad, and my wonderful wife at the time was my fiance. They kept me sane, and they kept me grounded and leveled, and try to live normality as much as possible. I mean, I went back into teaching literally the next day, so I had one day off, and then I was back into school on the Monday morning, and that again, teaching is such a wonderful profession, but it absolutely kept me grounded during that time because I still had a job to do. Some of the kids really didn't care, and so it doesn't. You're thrust back into normal life
Right.
very quickly, and that was my focus, was to continue teaching. After the final, I went back for the final 7 weeks of the year, so that one, my students had consistency. I had GCSE students going through their GCSEs, and also I made a commitment, so I wanted to honor that. But that in itself was keeping me incredibly grounded, because I came third on Britain's Got Talent, thinking my life has completely changed as it did, but I'm still in the school, still teaching as I normally would for the next 7 weeks.
How did the kids react when you walked in on Monday morning after the audition?
I was on playground duty in the morning, and so I was standing by the front gate. So every student that entered into the school saw me, and every single one of them wanted to talk to me. It got to the point where I think I did have to go. I was like, right, I'm actually being a distraction more than I'm being a help here. But not a single student tried anything to be naughty. It was a lovely reaction from everyone. Every single lesson for the next fortnight started with a 10-minute Q&A, because they just wanted to ask as many questions as they could. And it'd be wrong of me not to grant them that, to allow them that. So every single lesson, I was like, all right, you've got 10 minutes. And as soon as that 10 minutes is up, we're back to normal. And so we did that for 2 weeks straight. And of course, students still asked questions. But the great thing about it is the subject that I was teaching kind of fitted into the subject that they were wanting to talk to me about. It was a way of inspiring them, really, whether that wasn't my intention, but that way, it did inspire students to potentially consider the arts a little bit more. Potentially.
You mentioned the name Susan Boyle a couple of times. How does it sit with you, the moniker of the kind of male Susan Boyle, or the next Susan Boyle, or what was given to you
Yeah,
when you auditioned?
I absolutely fine with it. Susan, I think, is still probably the most memorable and
Yeah.
iconic contestant BGT have ever had, and then went on for massive success. So if I have 10% of what Susan achieved in her life, and is still continuing to achieve, I know she's come back after a long period of not performing, that would be success for me. A massive success. So nothing but love for Susan. And if people want to compare me to Susan, I'll take it as a compliment.
We spoke at the beginning there about musicals and about school musicals, and obviously your was it the album that was called Curtain Call? Is that
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah,
my
so the album was
debut.
called Curtain Call, and you have got a bit of a love for West End music
Oh yeah,
and things like that. Is that kind of your long term goal? It's a long term goal, but you know the kind of music that you bring out, is it going to be that kind of theatre, big emotional songs which you've already started bringing out?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Curtain Call was, I'm so proud of Curtain Call. My debut album, it was truly an experience to record, and then went on for really quite big success for me. You know, top five album here in the UK was mad. Not something I never thought I'd achieve. And then at the moment, I'm on tour. In fact, as soon as we're done here, I've got to get on the road up to Liverpool because I've got shows. And so we at the moment, the tour that we're on is the greatest songs from stage and screen.
Oh wow, love that.
And so we're singing Les Mis, we're singing The Greatest Showman, we're singing a bit of Wicked, a bit of opera as well. But like big emotional, powerful ballads, big songs that that kind of shaped me growing up and tells that story of me in that spotlight growing up. And yeah, they'll forever be kind of songs that I aspire to sing, record, and perform.
The tour, are you coming up this way anytime soon?
Unfortunately,
Not yet.
no.
Not
Unfortunately,
yet. We'll say not yet,
yes,
right?
yes, absolutely, not yet. I'm hoping next year I can. I've been to Scotland. I've been to Glasgow, Aberdeen, and Dundee. With the Overtones over the last 2 years.
Oh, I love the overtones.
Yes, they're incredible. I've had the honour of supporting them for the last 2 years in a row on tour with them, and they were some of the greatest dates. Glasgow was just sensational.
Yeah.
The people of Glasgow know how to party, and it was an incredible show. So hopefully soon I'll get my own solo show up in Scotland.
And you are kind of starting to uh show the world you as a writer and you as a musician in terms of writing. So when it's just you doing the
Mm-hmm.
writing, what are you trying to put out there into the world? What story are you trying to tell?
It fully depends the mood I'm in, and that's the honest truth. It's songwriting is such a personal, vulnerable thing to do if it's done correctly. And correctly is probably the wrong word there because there's no correct way to write a song. But I always find the songs that I connect to when I'm listening are songs that clearly have had emotion poured into it. That can be positive or negative. And so for me, it does depend on the mood. If I'm if I'm feeling a certain way, sometimes the best way to process that information is to write some lyrics, to play some piano, to write a melody, to develop a song. And so many of the songs on Curtain Call, because it's 50% original, that first album, is are songs that have emotion, that tell a story. You know, one comes to mind of Home Again, a song that I wrote at 4 a.m., much to my wife's big annoyance. I
I
went
get it. I
downstairs,
get it. I'm with you.
and yeah, it was a song I was literally about to leave the next day to go back out of the country for another couple of weeks. And I was starting to really feel homesick, and being home for a night wasn't cutting it. And so I sat down, I expressed all those feelings, all those emotions, sent it to my manager, and very quickly we added it to the album because it's a song that I hope is universal for so many people out there. But for me, it was a really important song to put down onto tape.
So I was hanging off to go into this, but you've kind of brought me to it naturally. Now you mentioned Hannah quite a lot,
Mm,
um, uh, being your home.
yeah,
She is your home,
here's my
but
home.
that home has expanded a wee bit recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've got a beautiful baby girl, Adeline. She's nearly 9 months now. What's the date? Tomorrow she turns nine
Nice.
months tomorrow. And I am absolutely smitten with her. She can do no wrong. Already, I don't know how I'm going to control her. She is absolutely beautiful. It's a hard road to kind of end up with Adeline and to expand our family through IVF, which anyone that has been through it or knows people that have been through it, it's a mentally and emotionally tough experience. But we were so lucky with the end result, and we're so lucky to have a healthy and wonderful baby girl.
Let me ask you, and if by any point I'm asking you anything that's a bit too much, or you don't want to kind of go down that route, just say so. It's fine. But I get it, right, as a man, and not being able to do certain things as a man that a man is expected to do.
Yeah.
Right now, for me, it was more about providing for my family and things like that. But I felt like a bit of a failure as a man until I got it drummed into me that, have a word with yourself, Chris. And I'm wondering, for you, being as a man, how did it hit you? How hard was it for you, knowing that, this struggle that you are going through is something that traditionally, um, uh, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to,
I know where you're
yeah.
coming from. I think my whole focus throughout the entire period was on Hannah,
Okay.
and making sure that she felt supported, felt loved, felt worth herself. And it's not really until now that kind of that time in our life is over that I do stop and reflect, and I go back and I go, I didn't really pay much attention to my own emotions here. I was very much focused on making sure Hannah, who ultimately is going through the actual process, I'm there as a moral support. Obviously, I want success, but I don't want to add pressure. It's a challenging time for any couple, and my whole ambition, whether it was successful or not, was to ensure that Hannah was okay. The family, thank goodness the family did grow and we have got Adeline, but I didn't want to lose Hannah, and I didn't want Hannah to lose herself in this process that ultimately ends up damaging her, damaging us, damaging the life that we'd already started to build. And so I was really, really focused on making sure we and Hannah was okay.
And that, I mean, that is one of the most important things you can do as a couple. Is no matter what, you guys are a team.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, Adeline, is that right? Adeline?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adeline has come into your life.
Yeah.
So you guys are already this team, and you need to remain that team no
Yeah.
matter what life throws at you. And I can tell just by the way you've spoken there that, you're a hell of a partner. You're a hell of a tag team partner.
It was my intention. I don't know how well I did it. You'd have to speak to Hannah, but it was always my intention.
Now, life as a dad, your life completely changes as a dad. I like to say that the volume just changes as soon as
Yeah.
you become a dad.
Yeah.
For me, it was emotion. I
Yeah.
was very, very emotional as a dad. I am very emotional as a dad. Um, what what do you feel changed in you over the past 9 months as being a dad?
So I've always been a bit emotional. I've always been quite in touch with my emotional side, and I do feel like it's heightened
Hmm.
with Adeline. I think kind of my instinct to, and my manager said this would happen, my instinct to protect and to look after has heightened. And that's really hard sometimes when you're away from home, because you hear things going on. Well, Adeline's not very well, or she had a little bump on the head, or she's fallen over. And straight away you're like, I need to protect, I need to look after. But sometimes you're not there and you can't. And so that's been a challenge. But I do feel like I want to wrap her up in bubble wrap, cotton wool. to look after her, but it's not always you can't. She needs to move. So yeah, it does change you. Becoming a dad, more like, people tell you it's going to change you, but you don't understand. You can't comprehend. You listen to it and you go, yeah, okay, it's going to change me, and then it happens and you go, oh god, yeah, no, it's changed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've become a lot more protective and a lot more ambitious in terms of, or a lot more driven in what I do every single day, because I'm now doing it for Adeline as well.
Yeah.
There's someone else to provide for, and so everything we do is not just for me and Hannah anymore. It's me, Hannah, and Adeline.
So where did her name come from? Like how? I mean, Adeline, it's a
Right.
beautiful name.
Thank you. We didn't know if we were having a boy or girl. We kept that a surprise. With IVF, so many of the surprises disappear because
Right.
you're kept in the loop so much. And so my wife and me, we made the decision that we didn't want to know,
Wow.
and which was sometimes the wrong decision, because I think we really wanted to know. But we always had a girl's name. If it was going to be a boy, we were stuffed. We had no idea. But a girl's name was always going to be Adeline. And it comes from an artist, a song that we absolutely loved and still do, called Adeline, by an amazing singer called Avi Kaplan, former member of Pentatonics, sensational singer. Seen him live, honestly, it's one of the best. And then another one of my favourite bands called Alt J released a song called Adeline. Then Alvi released a part 2 of Adeline. And then randomly on Spotify one day, another song called Adeline started playing, and we loved it. And so we had 4 songs that we constantly listened to called Adeline, and we're like, this is a sign from something.
Yeah.
There's somewhere telling us that Adeline's a good name. And so we we knew straight away that was the name.
IVF is not only is it kind of emotionally draining, it's quite financially draining as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, we wouldn't have been able to afford it if I was still a teacher.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you believe that Britain's Got Talent? I mean, everything happens for a reason. Do you
It
believe that
does.
Britain's Got
It does.
Talent, helped you, happened
Undoubtedly.
because of this journey?
We wouldn't have Adeline without Britain's Got Talent, and without the work that's gone into this new life through my manager and through myself and through the teams that we've built. This new job has awarded me so many luxuries in my life, and one of those luxuries is the ability to afford something like IVF. We weren't fortunate in terms of the NHS funding. We didn't meet many criteria. There are so many criteria you have to fit to make it a viable option through the NHS. We didn't meet a couple of them, therefore we didn't get any funding. And so it becomes like shopping, because you start going to lots of different clinics, and we did loads of research, and you talk to different clinics, find out what they provide, because each clinic might provide a slightly different procedure that has different risks and different benefits and all of that. And so it becomes a real minefield, and you become an expert on specifically IVF for within the space of a couple of weeks, because of the amount of research you're doing and conversations you're having. And the big thing is always, well, how much is it going to cost us? And so sometimes you go, well, we just can't afford that one.
Yeah.
Which is mad, because it might be the best one, but
Yeah, no.
you can't afford it. Well, you can't go for it, so you end up going for a lesser, and then the risks are higher, and so it's a little bit daunting, challenging, and a little bit unfair at points, to be honest. But we were very lucky. We found a clinic that we liked, that was on the more expensive side, however, had a couple of, sounds awful to say this, deals.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Deals on
Yeah.
IVF. And so we paid for 2 rounds up front, which gave us a half price of the second round, with the stipulation that if you are successful on the first round, you lose the second.
Yeah.
So in my brain was always, well, it's better to pay for 2 and only need 1 than to pay for 1 and then ending up having to pay again double the money. I'd rather, if we got Adeline, I don't care that we spent like a lot more than we needed to for that 1 round. because we've got Adeline, and so it was worth
Yeah.
it. And so that's what we did.
Yeah. I think you'd be forgiven for using the word deal, because medicine nowadays is a bit of a business, isn't it? It's what it
Especially
is.
when you go into private, it feels like
Yeah.
that. And for someone that's been through a private procedure and a massive moment in our lives was done privately, and we spent a lot of money to do it. It can feel like that sometimes. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, in terms of health, that's not the only thing you've got. I mean, you've lived with type 1 diabetes since childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you would just get a list going here and just,
I know.
tick
I
them all
know.
off.
I used to joke that I had all the D's because I was diabetic, dyslexic, and dyspraxic.
Oh my.
But
How do you kind of live with that, especially being on the road so much? I mean, I'd give you a prime example. Right, I used to be on the road quite a lot as a children's author,
right.
and I would eat so much. I'm holding my door closed because one of my children's trying to get in, um, and I would eat so much rubbish from service stations and that, because I was on the road all the time. How do you kind of cope with that part of life, especially
It
when
was
you have to? I mean, I don't understand diabetes too much, but especially when you have to watch what you eat and whatnot.
yeah. With type 1 diabetes, what affects type 1 diabetes is food,
Mhm.
stress, sleep, the temperature outside, um, anxiety, adrenaline, uh, exercise. Everything affects your blood glucose readings because
Mhm.
chemical reactions in your body uses up sugar. Therefore, there's less sugar in your body. And
Right.
so, with type 1 specifically, it is a fluctuation of too low, too high. You're in control. You control it. There is no organ in your body that's trying to help you there
Right.
anymore. There was, obviously. And it was a big learning curve on the road because I was doing a lot more exercise in moments and then very sedentary for moments when you're in a car for 6 hours. And so exercise becomes a challenge. Food, of course, one of the biggest factors with type 1 diabetes, was a real big challenge because, like you say, when you're on the road, unless you're doing massive meal prep, like you're
Mhm.
on the road for 2 weeks, you're not doing meal prep for 3 meals a day for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're
You're
ending up
spending
in a
you're
service
spending a
station.
tenner on a Burger King, which should
Yeah,
cost a fiver somewhere else.
exactly. And also, it's not good food for you.
Yeah.
It's full of salt and sugar, and therefore harder to control. Um, so what I found I do is I know what I can and can't manage on a day, and I don't always get it right. It's not an exact science, really, but I know, well, if I have that, I need to do this, and I have to accommodate for that. I found meal replacement drinks, and specifically, I really like them now, and I'm not endorsed by them at all. But the Huel pot noodles. I don't know if you've seen
I've seen
Huel
them. I've
do.
never given them the time, but
They're
are
really
they nice?
nice.
Yeah.
They're really nice. They're better than the shakes. And so I just need a kettle, and there's my meal.
Yeah.
It's a pot noodle, so it's in that sense you're thinking, oh, it's unhealthy, but I know that this is full of the things that I need to continue going, and it's actually very manageable. So having one of those a day has made with diabetes relies on consistency, and the job that I've got is there is no
Yeah.
consistency. And so you make as much consistency as you possibly can through the foods that you eat, through the times that you try and wake up, through the exercise that you attempt to do through the day, through the water that you try and drink. Sorry,
Water.
you try and keep it as consistent as you
Mhm.
possibly can in a very inconsistent world.
You'd mentioned there about exercise and whatnot, and when you first auditioned, you had uh, a look,
Oh yeah.
we shall say. Okay. Um, and by the way, I'm just going to say right away, my eyebrows, I love my eyebrows. My eyebrows are great. You had some very epic eyebrows um that day as well. Your looks changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah. I've got
How
healthier.
was that for you? Was that important for you to do, or was it just something that just happened along the way?
It was never really about the look. For me, it was about health.
Hmm.
And as a teacher, I think I've said earlier in this conversation that it's all consuming, and you do forget to do things for yourself. And that initially was, when I was talking about it, was singing, but also was eating healthy, exercising, and being that. And because I was an early teacher, I was quite new to the profession still, really. I hadn't got my routines down by this point. I was still really trying to learn the ropes. Even 3 years in, I was still trying to learn the ropes. And therefore things go to the wayside. And so I put on a lot of weight while I was a teacher. I had haircuts, but they weren't as consistent as I probably wanted to. My grooming became a lot more, kind of, it took a back burner. And so I remember going to the producers tour straight after school, and it was a Friday. And if any of my kids are listening that I used to teach, I love you all, but Friday afternoons were hard. The classes I had on the Friday afternoon were sometimes the more challenging of classes for me. And that's putting it really nicely. And I remember going straight after that. I jumped in a taxi and got to the studios in London, and I looked awful. I was in that big grey suit. My hair was all over the place. And I think they might have liked it. They liked the look. And so when it came to doing the first audition, they said, please don't have a haircut and wear that suit. And so I did. Because again, it is what I would have looked like. It is what I was wearing. It wasn't unusual for me to look like that. So I did that. And it wasn't until afterwards where I had a bit more time and I suddenly had a platform and public profile and things like that, that I was like, oh, I should probably cut my hair a little bit more than I do. And I should probably either shave, or at least if I'm going to shave or not shave, make sure it looks as tidy as it can. And then subsequently, because I was able to look after myself a bit more, I lost weight and found love of exercise and things like that. And so it was kind of a natural process that kind of allowed me the new life that I had built for myself, allowed me to become healthier, and subsequently looked maybe a little bit more conventionally
handsome. Just say it. I'll say it. Handsome.
Thank you, mate.
No,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
you're a handsome man, right? There you go. We'll put it out there into the world. You're a handsome man.
Thank you.
You throughout this, I mean, there's so honestly, and I know we've not got a lot of time left, and there's so much I want to talk to you about. But we've went kind of a direction I wasn't planning on going. A few times during this conversation, you've mentioned your manager, right? And that doesn't happen a lot when I talk to people, especially like, celebrities or famous people. They don't talk about their management because it's just they are part of the business side of things.
Yeah.
But I get the impression that you have got a different kind of relationship with your manager, and your manager's special in your life.
Oh, my manager. So I met my manager when I got a phone call from a hero of mine. I got a phone call from Michael Bull.
Oh, get to France. No way.
Yeah, it was a real moment for me. And during that conversation, he invited me to go sing with him at the London Palladium. And I said, yes, of course. And that evening, I met this incredible man called Jay James, who had done X Factor himself years prior. And he got talking to me. I found out that I was who his daughter was raving about at home. She was like, the teacher from Britain's Got Talent. And so he gave me his number and basically said, just send me a message if you need any advice, which was really lovely of him. And about a month later, I needed some advice. I was starting to have conversations with agents and things like that, and I wasn't sure what I was doing. So I just messaged him. I said, can I just get some advice? And very quickly, we discovered that we're very similar in terms of our work ethic, in terms of our passions and everything like that. And so Jay started to manage me, and he officially became my manager. And that relationship very quickly grew because we're similar, and because our passions, and because he's just a wonderful human. we became good friends, and I became friends with the family. I was with them literally 2 days ago, just over at the house having dinner. Played a round of golf with Jay. Jay is an incredible manager, works incredibly hard, and has done phenomenal things for my career. And we continue to work incredibly well in the business sense.
Mm-hmm.
But equally, Jay is one of my closest friends. He's
and it's important to have people that care for you
Mm.
around you at that point as well, because you'll know yourself being in that industry that there are a lot of people that will be around you that only care for themselves, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But it's important then for to really grab onto those people that are, they're going to benefit your career, but they
Yeah.
care for you as well.
It's the team that you build around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Jay had always instilled in me from the very beginning of us working together. You need a good team that cares for you and then also will benefit you. So Jay obviously being my manager, my tour manager. So when I'm on tour over the last 3 years, my dad has become my tour manager.
Well, you need to have a word with your dad and tell him to get you back up to Glasgow.
Yeah, I agree. No, he joined us on the Overtones tour as just the Overtones needed a pair of hands, someone to help and to set up, to sell merchandise, to get the riders, and to just generally help out. And me and Jay quickly realised that who's going to do a better job than looking after me on tour than someone that genuinely cares about how I'm feeling and also knows how I'm feeling without me having to say how I'm feeling, because he raised me. And so dad is now part of the business in so many ways. He earns money for us, but also he's out on the road with me and I get to spend time with my dad. That there's nothing better than that. I love it.
That must be pretty cool for him as well, getting to kind of look after you all over again.
I hope so. I hope so. He's actually just waiting outside my front door because he's like, we need to get to Liverpool. I'm like, yeah.
Nah, I'm not letting you go yet.
No, you hold on to me, Chris. It's fine. Don't you worry.
I don't. I've not got a natural way to get to it, but I do want to ask about it. As America's Got Talent, and I mean, in my opinion, that is your biggest success in terms of reality TV, because you ended up with the group Golden Buzzer. You got to tell me about that.
Madness. I was invited. Oh, well, there's so much to tell. I'll try and keep it without going around the houses too much. But I was invited out to America by Simon. Jay phoned me and said they'd like you to go out to do this spin-off of America's Got Talent, where they're inviting 60 acts from all across the world, past winners, fan favorites, as Simon dubbed it, the best of the best versus the best. Would you like to do it? And I was like, yes, let's do it. I mean, what an honor to be included in those 60. And so I went out, I flew out with my manager, and we got to sing The Sound of Silence, which it just a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And the version that we created and crafted, I was so proud of. And I stood on that stage, eyes a little bit more open than there were in Britain's Got Talent, specifically because I had Jay with me as well. So that kind of utilizing the platform straight away as mutual beneficial, what was absolutely on our minds. And so I went on that stage knowing that the pressure's on, because it's not just proving myself that I can sing, that I've proved that on Britain's Got Talent, but now proving that I am up there with past winners, with fan favorites, that I can compete with the best. And I still don't know how it happened, but it happened, and they pressed the golden buzzer all together for the first time. It was the first ever group golden buzzer, and it didn't hit me. It really didn't. Again, like Britain's Got Talent, it didn't hit me until I stepped off stage and I phoned Hannah, and I just started crying. And I couldn't hold it back. I couldn't control it, because I suddenly realised that this was life-changing. This moment was life-changing. And I remember Jay bursting through the back door on the side of stage and just grabbing me. And he said to me, he was like, Tom, you've done it. That's it. That's the moment. Like, life is very different now, Tom. And I was like, oh God, yeah, you're right. Because that's when we went home and started recording. That's when we found our way into recording business, not just doing reality shows and a couple of corporate events under the title of Britain's Got Talent. That's when we were like, now's the time to launch Tom Ball, the artist, not Tom Ball, the former teacher, Britain's Got Talent star. And it did.
And you're doing a sterling job of it, if I should say so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Say so myself. What is what's next? Obviously, you're on tour just now, but what else is coming up for you?
So early this year, I made my West End debut, which was an incredible opportunity with an amazing musical called Emerald Storm. Brand new musical. It was their West End debut as well, and they invited me back. They're doing 3 more weeks, and so I'm going back later this year for that. I'm performing at the Palladium again next year with That'll Be the Day. The 40 years.
Wow.
They've been touring for 40 years. It's their 40th anniversary, and they've invited me as a special guest, which is an honor. So I'll be back at the Palladium. We are releasing new music at the moment. We've got music ready to go. Nice. So there's a lot of exciting things, and of course, I'm back in Abbey Road next year as well. There's a couple of things happening at Abbey Road as well.
So honestly, and now that you've said that, I want to ask you about that. But
yeah, I mean, Timeless this year. I don't know if you've got 5 seconds, but Timeless was a song that we released early this year, which I talk about pinch me moments during my tour, and Timeless is one of the biggest pinch me moments. It's this beautiful orchestral song that I had the opportunity to record at Studio One of Abbey Road with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. London Voices Choir.
You used to be a teacher.
I know. No, I remind myself. I remember standing in there with this orchestra playing and going, if my kids could see me now, if the students could see me now, it's bonkers. And when we released it, it went to #1 in the classical charts here in the UK and in Australia and Singapore, and it won 2 film awards over in Cannes, the World Film Festival in Cannes. Just why not? And so I do thank my lucky stars every single day for the opportunities that I've had, and I look forward to going back to that studio next year for more things happening that I can't talk about yet, but things are happening.
So the one thing that I always say is that the Peer Project isn't always about celebrity, it's about people, and Tom Ball reminded me of that more than ever today. You see, it's easy to see the big moments, the golden buzzer, the standing ovations, the #1 singles, but what really stays with me is the courage that it took for him to walk away from stability, to chase something that scared him, to keep going through the fear, the doubt, the IVF, the exhaustion, and somehow come out the other side more grounded, more grateful, and even more himself. That's what this podcast is all about. Ordinary people doing ordinary things and letting us in on the truth behind it. So if you enjoyed this chat, please share it, tell somebody about it, or even just drop a comment about what part hit you the most, because honestly, it helps more than you think. Now, thank you as always for watching and supporting what I'm building here. My name is Chris Duke, and this has been The Peer Project. I'll see you next time.